Alrighty.
So we're live. We're both live.
Yeah, hang on a second. Let me do a quick refresh. There we go. All right. So here we are live. Welcome to, here, let me hit refresh yours. Sunday night, we have, Jason and I have for quite a while now, we've done these live Sunday evening things, and now we're, of course, not where we were before, which was on the road, living in misery. We didn't do one last Sunday night, did we?
No, we missed last Sunday. I think you were traveling. You were in New York.
Yeah, well, I was, yeah, I'd actually just gotten to New York, and I think I was pretty tired. So, but I think that Jason and I talked about it. We kind of like the idea of doing one of these things every Sunday, just to kind of see how things have gone with our buses and whatnot every week. And so we're kind of doing that right now. We're
Yep.
playing around with some fancy smancy stuff. You can see that we're both in our videos, but Jason's over in Canada, and I'm here and here.
Okay.
Um, so anyway, so we're gonna spend a little time saying hello, kind of get started. We didn't really talk about starting till 7 o'clock.
Yeah, we can say hello
So
to some people. Say hello to some of our viewers. That looks like we got a bunch. I'm not sure how many you've got on your channel. We've got a bunch of hellos over here. So hello, everybody.
Cheeseburger's wondering if I know Musty One. I believe so it depends. I'm on a website called the Samba, and there's a lot of guys on the Samba that you chat with, and I believe he's over there, and he's been there for a long time. I've been on that board like 19 years, 18 years, and I think Musty's been on there a long time. I'm pretty sure what his username is, but I'm not quite certain because he doesn't go by Musty One over there. So the answer is no, I don't know him directly. It's like we haven't met. Well, maybe. I think I ran into him at a show once in New Hampshire because I recognized one of his buses. And just like any show, you walk by, you say hi, you talk for a couple minutes, and you move on. But it's not like I know the guy's number or we hang out or anything like that. So there's somebody from Union, Missouri, and Florida Panhandle. Oh, Brian Myers, yeah. Uh, our
How's my
voices are
audio now,
booming.
guys? I made an adjustment to my audio. Is it any better?
Well, oh, you mean in terms of turning it up or down?
Yeah. My wife was telling me it was a little bit quieter, so I just turned my audio up to adjust the balance to you.
Oh, well, I'm loud. I I've been a DJ for like 30 years, so I know how to project pretty well.
Oh, you're talking about your voice, not your snoring.
Uh, You and my wife, man. I'll give you her phone number. You guys can both.
Oh, we can have some wonderful conversations about you now.
Yeah, terrific. So anyway, so it's let's see here. So they're getting report of a bit of an echo. Are we hearing that? I don't know if we have an echo per se. I do have a mic aux showing up, and I have Skype mic showing up. I thought
Yeah,
it's.
in your feed, you need to turn off all other audio sources other than your NDIs.
I don't think I have any other audio sources except Skype right now.
Okay. I just turned my laptop volume down, so maybe it was picking up off my laptop and it was echoing back.
That's
So
what
let's
it
try
was.
that, see if that's any better.
Yeah. Okay. Well, anyway, so we've been sitting here for half an hour messing around with technology. Every time he wants to actually talk about something that's going on with his bus, I told him just wait. So, what have you gotten done? It's been probably a couple weeks. So Wednesday, so like 10 days that you've been in your little quarantine in Canada, trapped in your
Today,
bus.
10 days,
He's,
day,
Jason. If you don't
day
know,
8.
Jason is stuck in his bus for 5 more days. He can't leave his bus. He's in his bus quarantined, right? You
Well,
can't.
I can leave my bus. I just can't leave the property. So I can go out in the yard. I can play with my bus. I can do whatever I want around the house. And I can't leave the property. So it's a 14-day quarantine. So I got back on a week ago Friday. So today is, I guess, the ninth day technically. I'm not sure how they count it, whether it's the 8th or the ninth. I think it's as of 2 p.m. I'm into the ninth day. So um, yeah, so I've got 14 days of quarantine to do. I can't have any visitors. I'm supposed to social distance from everybody, including my wife. Um, so no symptoms so far. Everything's good. But we kind of figured that because we were pretty careful through the whole trip. And if you're going to get any symptoms, it's usually within the first 5 days. So everything's good. I've been tinkering with the bus slowly. Got a number of things done. Nothing major. I got to tear into that governor drain still. I haven't done that yet. I started playing with windows. I got two window frames completely apart. I brought home a spare with me from the bus boys from Stan, and I took that one and I put it in my bus, and then I took a broken one apart. And what I ended up doing was I took the broken, I took a good piece of glass out of the one I took apart, and then I took apart a second one and replaced a broken piece of glass that was in another one. So now I've actually repaired two of my windows now. So I got to go get some glass cut. Here, actually, let me show you. I've taken one completely apart. So when you take apart a Silver Sides window, you end up with about this many pieces. It's actually pretty incredible. It's a frame and a frame and a frame. So the first one took me about an hour to get apart, and I actually had to call Mark Renner because I couldn't figure out one little tab, but phone a friend, it always works. And now I'm down to this is the actual piece of glass. I taped it up so it didn't fall apart, so I'm going to use this as a pattern. I got to take this to a glass shop and get it cut. I need to get about, I don't know, how many of these did you get cut? About 12? You had all your pre-war busts done.
Yeah, all in all, there's 32 pieces of glass. So each slider represents two pieces, and then the other one represents one piece, the solid ones.
Yeah.
And
hello, Richard from Cambridge. Thank you. Hello.
What's that?
Oh, I'm just saying hello to some of the viewers that are on my channel. I've got a local guy here. He's about 40 minutes from me. They say the echo's better, so turning down my laptop worked. And Two Feathers likes the lights. Yeah, I really like the ambiance of the roof lighting.
Yeah, so talk a little bit about that. So this is I mean, I think Phil probably spent a day and a half getting this working, so you might as well.
Yeah. Hello, UK. Yeah, so Phil went through my whole electrical panel, and basically he was trying to get all of the switches that turn on all the circuits working on my bus. And I don't know if he specifically worked on these. To be honest, I was so busy with all the brakes and the hubs and everything, I really wasn't paying attention to everything he was doing. I just gave him the directions. I wanted to get the external lights and any lights I'd need to be safe to drive home working. So this is great. He's got these working. Now, I'm guessing there's two circuits because only every other one works. And same with the overhead lights. It's every other one. So the one that's right beside me here, which I don't know if you can see in the video, it's not working, but the one behind me works. And then it's every other one the whole way back. So I'm assuming that there's two switches because only one half of the circuits are working. So there's four switches, I think, that turn all these on. And if I turn all four on, this is what I get. But if I turn two on, I get two sides of the circuit, or one side of the circuit. So I really like these lights. So I'm really glad that I was able to keep. All right, I got a bus that has some of this original stuff, and I'm able to keep some of it. So that's great.
I figured out what's going on, dude.
What's
because
that?
Because we have each other in each, we have to turn the volume down. So like I have my Skype and you've got your Skype.
Right. Yeah, that's what I did. I turned my laptop volume down.
No. You got to actually go into the OSB, turn down all the volumes except for Skype.
Yeah, that's what I did. That's what I was saying earlier.
So if you look at your audio mixer, you should only have one audio feed right now.
Right.
Okay. All right. I didn't. I had a bunch going on. So
okay. Glad we got that.
We had somebody couldn't handle it left. Anyway, so all right. Well, anyway, we're just trying out a new technology. If you can tell, we're I'm here in Michigan. He is over in Canada, and we're putting ourselves on a screen. And it seems like every other video we do, we're doing something that's not perfect. But this is actually going to be pretty cool because I think that in the future we'll be able to, talk together and those types of things. And so I think we've got it figured out now.
Yeah.
So you've cleaned out the bus.
Yep.
Kind of
I cleaned
found
out all
some
the base.
stuff.
Somebody was asking. These are just the original incandescent light bulbs. I haven't done anything to them. They're the original from 1948. So they're not fluorescent. They're just like a 12 volt, like bayonet style push and twist in bulb. And it's amazing that this stuff all works still with the original wiring. So yeah, no, on to what I've been working on. So I cleaned out all the bays. I probably took about 1,000 pounds of junk out of the bays. It's amazing how much stuff you accumulate on a bus rescue. I mean, you know that with all the stuff that was in your Texas bus by the time we got back. I think I pulled 12 gallons of oil out of the bay that we'd bought over the various places that we kept finding it, and a couple boxes of parts, a spare hub. I think I had about 18 gallons of coolant in the end of it, or not coolant, but just water, because I had that big jug, plus I had all the little jugs filled. That all adds up in weight.
Yeah. So have you gotten all your inspections done?
No, because I'm in quarantine, so I can't leave the property, so I can't do anything as far as inspection wise until not next week, but the week after. So I've got a 30-day temporary permit from the state of Minnesota, so that basically gives me a week after my quarantine's done, because it took me, with all the stops and visiting friends and waiting for the export paperwork, it took me almost a week to get home. So I've got to go get a weigh slip. That's the first thing I got to do, and then I got to get it into a heavy truck shop to get a safety inspection done. So hopefully it doesn't need anything major. I know I've got to fix the wipers. I'm gonna work on those in the next couple days, because I know they'll fail it if the wipers aren't working. Other than that, I think we're good with everything we've gone through. A couple questions here. Somebody's asking if you followed me all the way to all the way, or just to the border. And the bus was actually running so good with so little problems. When we hit Traverse City, Sage actually stayed in Traverse City, and I continued on to visit some friends that were near Ann Arbor. And if it wasn't for the fact I forgot something at Sage's house, we wouldn't have met up again until probably the next bus rally.
Why don't you explain that, Jason? Why don't you get into some detail about that got thing?
Well, there's a very piece of important paperwork that you need when you cross an international border, and I was going through all my paperwork the night before I was going to go home, and realized I was missing a very important piece of paperwork. So I phoned Sage in a bit of a panic and said, "Hey, go check that guest room I was staying in and see if this fell around the bed or fell off the bed or it's somewhere." And sure enough, my passport was down and behind the bed. So that was
So that was like a 3-hour round trip. I drove an hour and a half to a little town kind of halfway between where he was, and at 10 o'clock at night, I think I got home at 1:30. And
it was about the same.
After you get done driving, I don't know, I think I figured it out to be 5,400 total miles. Wasn't really in the mood to drive another 3 hours, but we did it because I desperately needed him out of my country.
He just wanted to get rid of me at that point. I've got somebody asking, what part of Canada you're in? I'm near a small town called Stratford, Ontario. I'm halfway between Toronto and London, but a bit further north. And I see I've actually got a viewer, Mike H. here. He says no, that's somebody else just saying I'm near Stratford. So yeah, he responded for me. So yeah, so if you know where Toronto is, and if you know where London is, those are two major cities. I'm about halfway in between the two of them. Probably closer to London, actually.
So and I'm in a little town called Traverse City, Michigan, very near Lake Michigan. It's full on fall here. All the colors, the leaves are changing. That kind of stuff's going on here, and so.
Yeah, well, how was your temperatures last night? We were 1 degree above freezing last night.
Oh, yesterday, I don't know. So I've been in New York. So the other thing is after Jason left, I stayed around for a couple more days, and then I ended up in New York. As a matter of fact, Lance, who owns the Lucky Dog charters the vintage buses in Nashville. Lance had one of his buses in Manhattan, and then one night I actually went out walking around looking for it because they were reportedly going to be driving the buses up and down major streets. So I went to Times Square figuring it would show up there. But it turns out that he rented his bus out to like this top secret music video thing that I was able to Google and find out. A friend of mine actually is a creative director, does production work, and he kind of figured out what it was, what the music video was. But Lance's bus was in New York the same time I was there. It's kind of cool. And I got back actually today. I drove to Detroit last night and saw my dad, who lives in Detroit. As I've mentioned before, I grew up about 6 miles from where these buses were made, and my dad's still there. He's there with his wife, and my sister happened to be in town, so I stopped there last night. And so I'm back in Traverse City, but not for long. Tuesday, I turn around and I actually head back to Indianapolis, and then I head back down to the Nashville area for my work, for my job. And so I have like not stopped traveling. It's like I stop for like 4 days and then I go again, and I haven't stopped traveling since August 17th, and that's just kind of the nature of how my falls usually run. So, but so here's what I've been working on. And by the way, I deliberately, if you look in the bottom left corner of my stream, you'll see that that bus is actually my 4101. I alluded to it. I don't know if people realize I own two buses. The one right next to me on my screen is actually the bus we just rescued, and that was taken today. That's where it's parked right now next to a tree. And the other bus in the bottom left corner is actually my other bus, which is down in Indy right now. I'm waiting for a couple things to be done to it, but that will be coming up hopefully this fall, and I'm excited about it. So I have a bunch of glass that I need to pick up this week for that particular bus, and then I have to. There's some other stuff that I need to do. I have to head and get some wiring done, do some measuring and things like that. So I basically have just getting my punch list done, I guess, this trip. So
yeah, got a bunch of hellos. Yuna from Japan says hello. She was one of our students that stayed with us. We host a lot of international students, and she was one that came to visit us from Japan. So hello, Yuna. Hey, Bus Grease Monkey. Hey, Scott. Scott's here.
He came over to yours too.
Yeah, yeah. Somebody asking about the purchase price of my bus. I'm not really going to get into that at this point. I will at some point. I'll do a full costing as I do the RV build, but I'm not quite there yet.
I can tell you in Canadian it was over $1 million. That's not a U.S. price, but with the exchange rate, that
yeah,
Canadian money is not what it is in the U.S. So let me see. So one of the things also that I'm working on, and I don't know if you can see, you don't see it in Skype, but if you go over to my YouTube feed, there's a blue square. Do you see that blue square?
Oh, I just realized something. Some of our viewers are confused because you're telling them to go look at the picture, but it's on your feed, not my feed. My feed yeah, that's why.
So here's the fun thing. Jason's like, oh, we'll just do it on my channel. I'm like, let's put it on both channels and really confuse everybody. So if you see like right now, Jason and me, and then you see a bus underneath it, it says bus with us. That's Jason's feed. If you go over to the Silverside Sage page and click on the live feed, you'll see my version, which is a little bit more complicated. And I don't know why we did this. We just decided it would actually be kind of funny to have two different things going on. So we're talking to each other, of course, and then I've got some other stuff. But you can see my screen, can't you, right now?
Me? Yeah, I've got yours up on my phone. So
do you see this blue square?
Hang on, let me.
Oh, you got to probably take your glasses off because
No, these are for a close up. The blue square. Yeah, the blue square where there's nothing there. Yeah, I see that.
So that is actually it doesn't look this way in the video, but that's actually the Greyhound floor color. That is an original Greyhound floor tile, and they sell it in sheets that you can actually shape around the wheel wells, and they sell it in squares as well. And I've been looking for this stuff. They also have it in red, which amazingly, my 4101 actually came with red floor instead of blue floor, and it's kind of neat stuff. It's actually it's a modern version of linoleum. It does stand up just like linoleum does, but it's a little bit healthier for you. And that's I'm looking to probably redo the bus back when we had a chance to be in really looking at it. You had this blue linoleum, then you had a line of cork, and then you had the steel underneath it. The cork served as an insulation, and it also kind of dampened some of the noise. And so, I want to recreate the floor. And, people do tile, they do the wood, the wood slat. I've seen all kinds of different uses of flooring. This is actually on par with doing like a synthetic or a plastic wood floor.
Yeah,
Is the
I
actual
wouldn't use cork though, because cork will absorb moisture. I would put one of those newer synthetic thermal underlays down as
Yeah,
opposed to
yeah.
cork.
Well, the stuff that you put underneath wood floor, it's like neoprene. It's not
Oh yeah,
quite
yeah,
neoprene.
yeah. That's just a thermal underlay.
So I'm going to put that in, and then I'll put this tile down, and it should be really cool. I've been experimenting with that. The other thing that I've been working on this week, because I can't do much, sitting in New York, not near my bus. One of the other things that I've been looking at is this, and so I don't know. Scott's probably on here still. Scott was talking about his super toilet that he's got in his bus, and that's my big concern is that most camping toilets are too small. I'm 6'4", and I can't sit on a regular camping toilet. My knees, I just can't do it. It's like my knees would whack me in the head. And so I, Scott had suggested he got a new toilet seat. I think he was on his live feed from last night and immediately wrote down what the name of the toilet is. And look at that baby, man. That thing is straight out of the Jetsons. It's perfect.
What's that? That's
It's
the
tall.
Dometic 310.
It is.
Yeah.
You know your toilets, man.
Well, just go into Google and put in Dometic 310, and everybody you can see what he's talking about. I I'm doing a conversion on a budget right now, and we can upgrade later. But my bus actually came with a fully functioning toilet, so I'm gonna reuse what I've got for now. But man, when I got a extra couple grand to spend, I'll be upgrading my bathroom.
Well, this isn't that much. I think it's a couple $100. But the toilets that I came with my buses, they're not tall, and they're which translates to me is they're useless. Um, and actually, about that flooring that we were talking about before, it's actually made by the same company that makes linoleum. It's just a different. It's called Melonium or something like that.
Marmoleum? Yeah, I've seen it.
Marmoleum. Yeah, that's the
Yeah,
product.
yeah. You can buy it in tiles. You can buy it in large sheets.
But they were the original manufacturer. Linoleum was the original manufacturer of the Greyhound bus floors,
Yeah.
and
Well,
I think it's a vintage color. I think it's.
didn't the name linoleum come from the fact that it used linseed oil?
I have no idea.
I'm not sure. Just
So anyway, so that's the two things I've been kind of looking at. Is I've been looking at toilets, and I've been looking at the flooring and stuff like that. I have a lot of mechanical things to do. I've got a reverse solenoid to rebuild, which congratulations, Jason this week found a reverse solenoid just sitting in his bay.
it was
Just
tucked in
random.
behind the generator. If we cleaned out all the bays before we left, we would have found it.
Well, that's pretty cool. I need one. I'm going to take the one Rodney Middleton, who is another YouTuber, sent me a reverse solenoid, and I'm going to try to rebuild it with the one I've got in there, and hopefully scrabble together one that works. He said this one works. It just needs some housing pieces, so I'll get into that. And then the water manifold and the thermostat housing, which came from Leon, a guy from Maryland, who was nice enough to send me that one. I've got to get those worked on. One of the bigger kind of things that I need to get this governor worked on. And so I'm trying to figure out, am I going to take off the governor and take it to a shop and have it rebuilt? Do I drive the bus to the shop and have it rebuilt? I'm trying to figure out how I can actually get that pulled off. Getting a bus to a shop that can work on it, the closest one's 2.5 hours away. That's kind of tricky because I don't have somebody who's ready to follow me to, to get me home after I drop the bus off. So, and they'll want it for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of ironic that we both have governor problems with our buses. Different problems, but we both have governor problems. Mine, the oil's not draining fast enough, and it's leaking out the drain if I go over 60, and it's set awfully low. And I almost wonder if that's related, if somebody knew there was a problem and they set the governor lower so that the drivers wouldn't drive it fast enough to puke oil, and yours is just worn out that it needs a rebuild.
Well, and somebody was asking going to an air reverse solenoid, which you just have electric air valve.
Yeah, that could work.
I mean, it can. If I can get this to work using the original, that to me is fine. I sometimes reinventing the wheel is a little harder than just retrofitting and bolting on the new one.
Yeah.
So I think
it's amazing looking at all these different buses. There's not two of them that are exactly alike. They've all had little changes made along the way. Like mine's got a newer motor with an air shutdown, but yours has still got the old style with the solenoid.
So anyway, so that's something those are two things that I need to work on. Brakes are kind of a little soft. I was out driving around. I maybe need to try to drain, but I don't think I accumulated a lot of moisture since the last time we drained the tanks.
You probably need to adjust yours up again because we didn't adjust them after we left Scott's, and we drove quite far, so we probably burned more of the rust off the back brakes.
Yeah, so I will probably get under there and make an adjustment to the brakes again. And then I got to get into electrical. I mean, the thing that Phil did for yours is really, he got you down the path way further than me in terms of getting all your contacts cleaned up and getting things working. Yeah, I've got to yet to get all those things done. So
yeah, I just gotta say, I'm just blown away with how much of the electrical works after Phil worked on this bus. And my wiring harness so far seems to be in great shape that I don't think there's any point in rewiring this bus at this point. I had assumed I was going to have to pull all the harness like Rodney did and just start from scratch, but at this point, I mean, I haven't pulled up the center channel to look. Like, I'm going to pull out the step like Two Feathers did and Rodney did, and I'm going to have a good look to inspect everything, but so far, everything looks great.
Well, so somebody had asked when the last time this bus had been repowered, and I don't know. And that's another one that I'm baffled by. When we had this bus driving across the country, there was really no oil smoke. And when we fired it up and drove it around Traverse City, boy, it was pretty bad at every traffic light. It was putting out a big puff of oil smoke, not diesel. So
yeah, I thought I was getting COVID following your bus, and then I realized it was just the smoke coming out of it. Exactly.
I still have a cough from following buses, which isn't good. You shouldn't. So the other thing is that I did find an engine, very affordable, a very affordable 671 left-hand.
Yeah.
And that's another thing I'm thinking about is, do I try to go through in piecemeal, do an in-frame and all this, or this is a completely rebuilt motor. The rebuilt was done in '87, and then it's been sitting. It's a gentleman who's got a bus that he had the spare engine done and just had it sitting and waiting. And then he sold the bus and he ended up with this engine, and he's now in his 80s and he wants to get rid of it. And so it's in the Midwest. I got a reasonable price. I'm going to go look at it this week and just do a hands-down engine swap and maybe pull the head off of the engine that's in there and put the 4-valve head in the other bus.
Yeah, if you can get a good known running engine, that's always going to be cheaper than rebuilding. But on the other hand, if you rebuild an engine, you know what you've got. There's no question about it. You've been into it. You've overseen the rebuild. You know exactly what you've got and what you're driving down the road.
Well, this is, I mean, I don't know. I'll be videotaping my walk around and looking at this engine because I don't exactly know what it is, but so anyway, But so those are the things that I've been kind of tinkering with. Like I said, I'm getting the windows this week. I'm going to look at that engine. I'm going to do a couple other things to the 4101, and that's it. I've got one more video left, which is the final drive from Scott's facility up to Traverse City, and I'm halfway done editing that. That should be dropping in the next day or so.
Yeah.
And then I've got a couple other things that I want to do. I've got some footage I owe you from driving across the Mackinac Bridge, following
Yeah,
you.
actually, that's the last piece of the puzzle. I need to finish my last video, so that would be great to get that.
So I will get that. I'll get that sorted out and get it over to you. So let's see if anybody's got any questions. There have been some. Go to all caps because we are both relatively blind. And when you put it in all caps, then we actually tell it's a question, not just comments flying back and forth.
Yeah, I see there's a question. Actually, it's on your channel, but it's for me. Somebody's asking if I have to get a commercial inspection. The answer is no, but the answer is yes. I have to get an inspection done by a heavy truck mechanic. I can't just go to a regular car mechanic to get a safety inspection done. So it's a privately owned vehicle, so I don't require commercial inspections. I have to get inspected initially, but that's going to be from the same guy that's going to do a commercial inspection on a commercial coach. So I hope they don't hold me to the same scrutiny, but I don't know. We'll find out. I imagine being a 72-year-old bus, they're going to find a few things they probably don't like, but on the other hand, I imagine they're going to find a lot of things they don't even understand. So we'll see how it goes. I'll know in a week or two.
So somebody was asking if you're going to put a pinball machine in your bus.
I've joked about it, but the problem is the door is only 28 inches wide, and the pinball machines are all about 30. So I'd have to pull out the front windshield to put a pinball in it. But you know what? That would actually be pretty cool if I could find a spot to stuff an old vintage, like if I found something from the 40s or 50s, an old flipperless machine or something. That'd be pretty cool.
What about through the emergency hatch?
No, actually, you know what though? I take that back. The old machines from the 50s are actually pretty narrow. I bet you I could get an old wood rail in here, and it would be period correct. It would go pretty good, and they're a lot shorter and smaller. So, hello from Quebec. I've got from Gatineau.
What's that?
I just say I got a viewer from Gatineau saying hello. So hello. Got a couple guys I see from Quebec. A couple local guys. It's actually pretty cool to see some local guys, and some guys from within Canada.
So anyway, all right. Well, let's see. Do we have any other questions? Scott suggested that I change or check my oil baths and change out my fuel filters. Basically, do a cleaning maintenance after all that driving, and see if the smoking stops. Which I certainly am going to take that advice because it's basically free.
Yeah, and you know,
in terms of doing those things. I mean, yeah, I need a little oil to clean out my oil baths, but fuel filters are probably $20, but
yeah.
that beats a motor.
Yeah, I did notice your smoking got worse the last couple of times we drove around Traverse City. So maybe he's onto something there. Maybe there's something that is getting plugged up that you can deal with instead of changing the motor. Because it wasn't smoking that much when we left Scott's place, but it certainly was smoking following you around Traverse City.
Well, all right. So I got my agenda. I've got to basically do some laundry and sleep, and then get ready for my next trip. I might be bringing a surprise down to Scott. I got to get to my bus barn and dig around, but Scott's looking for something to do this winter, and I might have just the thing for him to play with. So we'll see if I can get that all done before I have to leave on Tuesday.
Yeah.
So where?
Somebody's asking if we have any update on the bus boys on their Alabama bus rally for 2021. I haven't heard anything. I know Stan was talking about it a bit when we were there.
It's mid-May. So
Mid-May?
I think it's the weekend that has May 16th is I think one of the days.
Okay.
But it's going to be in mid-May. It's a go from what he was saying. We will have access to the parking lot next to the facility. The facility should be done. I got to make sure my bus works. I need to have my bathroom done. sleep on an air mattress. I can, I can use my camp stove, but I've got to get my bathroom running so that I can go down and do this. But
Yeah,
yeah, I
I hope
definitely want
the
to go to
border
it.
opens up between now and then, because if the border doesn't open, I won't be able to go.
Well, so speaking of that, they made a change this week, and I just heard about if I have a sick relative in Canada, I can now get into Canada. It's the only way that they will let me in. And so I don't have any relatives in Canada right now. So I don't know if that necessarily is, I don't know if that's relatively, if that's going to work or not. But
Well, I
I need,
almost feel like family after we spent, what, 36 days together?
yeah, but they want paperwork.
Uh,
Your Canadian government doesn't just trust us. That's how we do things here. It's like, okay. Did you explain to anybody on any conversation the fun you had getting out of the United States?
no, I haven't talked about that. I was saving that for one of my YouTube videos, but I can touch a little bit on it, I guess. So getting the bus into Canada wasn't a problem. I had all the proper paperwork. I had everything documented, all my parts that I'd bought, repairs. I was prepared for that. But what I wasn't prepared for was the export part of it. Um, U.S. Customs had some time on their hands, and you have to present your vehicle to be exported and get your paperwork stamped before you can import it into Canada. And they basically decided that I was their random inspection person, and they went through my entire bus, all my stuff, had to open up all the bays, and it took me about 2 hours to get my export paperwork stamped. So, I mean, I can't blame them; they're just doing their job. But it was a bit of a nuisance. But
Well, it sounded like they were very polite and they just were asking you friendly questions. And
yeah, yeah. So it wasn't an issue because everything was fine. It was just a nuisance to have to spend an extra 2 hours. I've imported about a dozen vehicles into Canada before, and normally you walk up with a line of truckers, they stamp your paperwork, away you go. They don't even want to look at it, but because the border's so quiet, they have time to inspect things and take things a little bit further, I guess.
so I know in Australia they won't let us into Australia. Somebody said they're having the same problems. Can Australians come to the United States right now? I don't know.
I don't know. That's a good question.
There was a map at some point. Let me see how you can find it.
I know Canada's not letting anybody in, period, full stop, unless you're a citizen or like compassionate to visit a family or um, some student visas. They're allowing some of the student visas in to come in for educational purposes.
I So Aruba, the Bahamas, Barbados, Bermuda, Croatia, Dominican Republic, Ecuador, Egypt, Ethiopia, the French West Indies, French Polynesia, Grenada. Hey, we can go to Grenada. Ireland are asking non-essential to visit, but you must quarantine. Most of these you have to quarantine, but they'll at least let you in. So none of Europe, Malta, the Maldives, Mexico will let you in, but you have to quarantine. Puerto Rico, which is already kind of, and St. Kitts, which is really interesting.
Hmm. But they
I
all
have a
ask you to
project.
quarantine, or is there some that don't ask for quarantine?
Uh, it's starting in October. They don't publish the rules for St. Kitts, but I have an actual client in St. Kitts, and I have a project that got put on hold. That's really interesting. I can probably get over there if I have to. When they arrived in the Canada border, what was their reaction when they saw the bus? Somebody was asking.
Oh, the Canadian border. That it was just another vehicle for them. It was just more paperwork. So I showed up. I presented them my paperwork. They went through everything. They gave me what I had to do. They went out and did their quick little inspection, walked around. They have to check the vehicle to make sure it's not a damaged vehicle, and stamped my paperwork on the Canadian side, and away I went. So it was a fairly painless process. You can bring in um, any vehicle that, okay, a regular car you can bring in anything that's older than 15 years. into Canada without any problems from anywhere in the world. Buses, something changed in the safety laws in 1971. So if you're bringing in a bus into Canada, it needs to be older than January 1st, 1971, unless it's on a very specific list of admissible vehicles. And that includes bus conversions that are into RVs as well. So um, there's some people that have tried to bring some newer Prevos that were converted by people that weren't on the approved list, and they got shut down. They had to bring them back to the States. They couldn't bring them into Canada, which is kind of funny because the Prevo on its own could come in. So if you're bringing a newer bus in newer than 71, go to the RIV website, riv.ca, and check it carefully. You don't want to spend 50 grand or 5 grand or whatever on a bus, get to the border and find out you can't bring it home.
Well, we don't want any more buses leaving America anyway. So,
Yeah.
all right. Well, I don't see a lot of other questions here. I don't know. What else do you have to contribute to this evening's discussion, Mr. Ewing?
Well, I am going to expedite the window seal process because apparently I need some. Some of my windows are leaking. We had some good rains this week, and I've noticed some puddles on the floor of my bus, which is not a good thing. So, and it's obvious it's coming down the sides.
So here's a question for the people who are on the feed, and you've got about 100, I've got about 150 right now. If we did this every week, or at least every couple weeks, couple times a month, is that interesting to you guys, or is this like just is it going to be a waste of our time? Because when I was on the trip, we'd have 400 people watching, and I just was wondering, is that something you guys want to see? Because I mean, right now I'm going to be shooting video still. And so it's one of those things where, I'm going to still have videos to update as I make progress on the bus. But these live chats were really kind of right in the middle of everything. And just wondering if anybody, if you're interested in still seeing these or not. So
I think as long as we've got something new and interesting to talk about, I think they're worth doing. And maybe we go to alternating every other Sunday or something, and we can switch back and forth between our two channels.
well, yeah, I think we'll do it. Let's. Um, oh, somebody's asking if they're going to convert your other axle.
Yeah, I likely will eventually, just so I have a matched pair on the bus, because it would really suck to be stuck somewhere and need a part and you can't go get an off-the-shelf part. Like you you can get the seal for the later silver sides, I think, but it's just not as easy to get as the MCI. Yeah, because we ordered one from O'Reilly's for your bus, did we not?
What's that?
The seal, so it's pretty available.
Like
But
the seals are easy to
yeah,
get.
it's just it'd be nice to have the same left or right, especially if somebody else is working on the bus and
So
just
here's something, man. I'm in New York, right? I'm in Manhattan, and there's like Third Avenue goes downtown, Second Avenue heads out towards Harlem and the Bronx and everything. And I swear to you, I sat on a corner one day. Every 3 minutes, there was an MCI 9. They must have thousands of them. But every minute or two, everybody from the Bronx and from Queens and from Harlem gets on an MC9 and takes it into town to like either Grand Central Station or to Union Station or downtown. And it's crazy how many buses they've got. I can't imagine with as many as I saw that finding an 8 or 9 or a 7 hub is going to be that difficult because they're still well in use in New York.
oh, I
So are
think I
you
lost.
around? Are you there?
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm here.
so anyway, I think it's interesting. It's good to know. Now, here's the other question: are the axles the same size on a pre-war as they are on the bus that you've got?
Well,
Is,
that's a
is
good
that
question.
is that a pre 500 axle that you took that wiper off of?
Yeah, I don't know if it just had an early style seal on it or if it is just it must be the same because the two hubs I took off were quite different in the back plate where the plate bolted onto the back plate. So they've got to be the same, but you'd know by checking the bearings on your pre-war, because I checked all the bearings from the MCI hub to the Silverside hub, and the spindles were the bearings were all the same, the inner, the outer. I actually used the newer MCI bearings because I wanted them to match the races that were in the hub. So I cleaned them up real good, repacked them, and put them in. But you want to know for sure next time you've got your pre-war up on a jack, just pull the hub and check the bearing numbers.
Well, I've got them all written down, and they're not the same as the other bus.
Okay, so the pre-war is different then.
Now, hmm.
uh, One of my friends is saying, I know of a Vanagon of yours that does not have matched spindles in the front, and that's so true. um, yeah, I used to play with a lot of Vanagons, and there was one I had to move, and for some reason I ended up changing the spindle, and I had to put a different spindle on it to move the bus, and it's still sitting in the yard like that with mismatched spindles. So it's not the first vehicle I own with mismatched spindles.
So they're saying Phil would probably know.
Yeah, you never
So
know. Phil knows a lot of stuff.
yeah, yep. Luke would know probably as well.
Yeah, yeah, Luke would be a good guy to ask.
So, well, all right. I think that I don't see a whole lot of questions coming through, just comments back and forth. And, thank you so much for joining us.
Yep.
Scott mentioned at some point, but if you are not a subscriber to my channel or to Jason's channel, be sure to hit the subscribe. And I guess, I don't ask a lot of people to do this, but hit that thumbs up on the like if you like it or any of the videos. I've got another video coming in the next day or two. It's all the contents on the computer. I'm just getting it edited down, and then Jason's got some more as well, including this footage that I got to get over to him driving across the Mackinac Bridge, which was pretty breathtaking. It's a gorgeous day, so we'll just tease you with that.
Yeah.
And then that's pretty much everything that I have. So.
Yeah, just for the people on Sage's channel that are watching me on there, for those that don't know, it's Bus With Us is my YouTube channel, and if you want to see the trials and tribulations of getting my bus home and the build, and we're going to travel in it after and keep documenting the bus, you can watch us over there. And for everybody on my channel that doesn't follow Sage, it's Silverside Sage, and you can find everything about his buses over there. And it's been a great joint venture between the two of us getting the buses moved.
Okay, I'm putting Jason, your channel, in the comments of my of the video here. So
yeah, I linked your channel in the description of the video tonight, so I've already put that up for those that need it. Somebody's asking if they're factory tint on my windows. All of the glass except for one window is the original green glass. So
that's actually called GMC green.
Yeah.
And you can get pretty close. When I was at the glass shop, we got pretty close, but it's fairly unique to the GMs, and so I don't. My older bus actually, because it is a 41, it didn't have the same green glass, and so I'm replacing all my glass there, and it's not a problem because I'm not getting rid of the GM glass. Where Jason, as he goes and finds stuff, he's gonna have to go find more glass because he wants to keep them all the same.
Yeah, I think what I'm going to do, because I got to get glass made, I'm going to try and see if I can get some green tint. It's not going to be the same, but I think I can get something like similar to what you did. I'm going to change all the glass on one side of my bus because I've got enough broken windows that I need to change every non-slider on one side and a couple of sliders. So I think on one side I'm going to go with all new glass so they all match. And then eventually, when I have the time and the money, I'll redo the other side as well to match. So.
All right, man. Well, enjoy your quarantine for the next couple more days. And
Friday at 2:00, I'm free. That's my 14-day window.
And I'm getting, like I said, I'll be back on the road. I don't know if I'll shoot any video, and I may swing by Scott's. I got to talk to him about that, see if. What he's got going on, if he wants me around or not. I guess with that, we'll try to touch base next Sunday. I don't know if next Sunday's going to work, but we'll certainly give it a shot.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see where we're at next Sunday. So I I got a couple more questions. I'm not sure if you want to get going, but I got a couple more questions that looks like I can answer.
Sure.
What have I got here? The question about Windows. Oh, somebody's asking,
Oh,
where are you getting your parts in Canada? That's a very good question. I haven't had to source any parts in Canada yet. Everything I bought when I was in the U.S. getting the bus ready, and I bought it locally in Minneapolis. A lot of stuff came from C&J, which is a bus company down there. Some of the stuff came from the bus boys. Um, so getting parts up here, I'm gonna have to find a source. I would imagine most heavy truck and bus places can order all the standard stuff like seals and bearings and all of that. But any of the oddball stuff that's vintage bus specific, I'm probably just gonna have to order out of the U.S. either from Luke, U.S. Coach, or maybe Gene Russell or somebody like that, and just get it shipped up. It's not that bad to get stuff shipped up here these days. It only takes another day or two. The only difficulty is clearing some of the stuff through customs can be a bit costly. But if you know how to do it yourself, you can actually clear stuff yourself. Just don't ship with UPS; they're a pain in the butt to get across the border. Well, they're not. They just charge you through the nose. For $100 package, they'll charge you about $70 for brokerage fees, which is ridiculous. So,
somebody's asking for a three-way between you, me, and Scott.
oh, that would be interesting if Scott was up to that. We could have
I don't know if I really want to get in a three-way with other bus
not
fishing guys, but that's, you guys, I won't get in your way if you guys want to do something, but no, I mean, this would actually be kind of cool. We could have, dare I say it, we could have Phil join us.
Yeah, we could bring in. We could have everybody. We could have a different guest each week, and I mean, this technology is great that we've been able to embrace, and we can maybe bring in Stan from the Bus Boys one night, and just bring in different people from the bus community and chat and keep things going.
Well, there you go. All right. Well, I think I'm gonna drop off. It doesn't seem like
Okay,
I've got any other questions here.
all right.
Um, let's see. Race Monkey.
Yeah, John Beverly. Hey, another local guy from Toronto's joined us. John. Hey, John.
Oh, Scott's taking off his clothes. I told YouTube that I would be appropriate so that I would be able to not. Oh, there, he qualified it. He said it's a three-way chat. Sorry, Scott, that's not what he was asking about. Um, all right, I gotta go. If you want to still go, my
Sure.
channel's
Yeah, I'll stick on. I'll stick on for a few bit and for a bit in case some guys have some more questions. But we'll say good evening to Sage and thank you for joining us and thank you for the wonderful adventure we had together.
yeah. Well, we'll be in touch, man, and enjoy your quarantine, and we'll go from there.
All
Now
right,
I can
sounds good.
figure out how to actually stop this because maybe I do it over here.
I think you
I
close your Skype window and it'll go away.
No, there we go.
There's the sound back. Sorry about that, guys. I had to switch video feeds when we dropped the Skype call. Hopefully, I didn't lose too many viewers. And let me know if you guys can hear me now. It should be working. Let me just check the comments before I keep talking here. No audio, no audio. Turn up your volume on OBS. Okay, we're back. Thank you, guys. Sorry about that. I had to switch my video feed. Yeah, so overall budget. I don't have an overall budget set for the bus. I think it's going to be the latter. It's just going to be an ongoing project. I probably don't want to add up every little penny I put into the bus. It might make me cry. I'm going to track all the major things and all the major costs of the conversion so that I can do a video about it at some point. So I'd say probably check back with me about 6 months from now, and I'll have a pretty good idea where we're at as far as costs. I do have a running tally and a running spreadsheet, so that should be interesting to see at some point. And yeah, so technology is a wonderful thing, especially if you understand how to use it. Sorry about that for dropping the stream. Somebody says it can help with bringing parts across the border once the border is open. Yeah, you can actually save a lot by shipping parts to a border town and bringing them across and declaring them and importing it yourself. If you bring stuff through with a shipping company, you have to pay them what's called a brokerage fee, and that's the fee that they charge to clear the customs documents on your behalf. Whereas if you do it as a personal import, you don't have to pay any of those fees. You just pay your taxes that are required, and if any duties applicable. So if you say you're bringing in $1,000 part, some of these shipping companies want a couple $100 to clear customs, and that really adds up to the cost very quickly. Whereas there's a couple ways you can do it. You can either clear it yourself. You can go down to a local customs office if you have the commercial invoice, clear it yourself, and then you fax that to the shipper, or you got to pay them whatever they want when they clear it for you. So somebody's asking about Greyhound fans you met on the road. I don't know if we met any specific Greyhound fans, but we met a lot of bus fans on the road. It's amazing traveling in a vintage bus, how many people you end up talking to at different stops. Every truck center, gas station you go into, there's always somebody that wants to talk about your bus, and it's pretty cool. You can meet a lot of interesting people that way. I mean, with Sage's bus, we bumped into one of his actual fans that follow his channel, and that was really neat to meet somebody that actually follows us. When I crossed the border, there was somebody, I don't remember their name, but it was a truck driver, and their wife was following me on YouTube, and they didn't put two and two together, I guess, until later that day, and that was me sitting at the side of the road clearing customs at the border. So it's pretty neat meeting people on the road. It's always a great conversation piece. It's a piece of history. It's a living piece of history as far as I'm concerned, and I'm just the caretaker of it. And I want to keep it. I want to keep it going so as many people can enjoy it and see it and share it as possible. Hello, Jason. Your sister-in-law is watching on your nephew's account. Oh, okay. Hello. That would be Christy. It's great to see everybody following me. That does. Somebody says, I love how the luggage rails are still in the bus. Will you be keeping them and integrating them into the conversion? We're going to try and keep it as much of them as we can. I don't know if you can see it, but there's a refrigerator and a washroom with a shower just behind me on this side. Maybe if I get up, you can see it. So some of them have actually already been cut into and removed. Oh, my laptop's plugged in. So there's a section that's missing already, which is fine because we do need a bathroom and a shower, and we're not going to be able to have them where the bathroom and the shower is. So we're going to have to take a little bit more of a section out. And I think what we're going to do is we're going to move the ones from further back up so that the front lounge area has the bins complete with all of the... Oh, apparently I got the wrong sister-in-law. Sorry, that would be Michelle. Haha. Okay. Got two sister-in-laws. But yeah, no, I want the lounge area complete with the original decor, with all, like, I mean, the ambiance these lights create is just amazing sitting here in my driveway at night. So we want to keep the lounge area with all the original bins, and same with the bedroom area. The bedroom area, so the center section of the bus where the washroom and the kitchen is going to be, we will unfortunately have to remove some because of the height of the bins makes it... You just can't work in a kitchen area that way very well, and it obviously doesn't work for the bathroom shower. So we're gonna keep as much of the original Art Deco features of the bus as we can because we love it. We love everything about it. But the reality of it is an RV, and we do have to be able to use it. So we're gonna do our best. Somebody says no sound. Have I got sound, guys? I show sound on the sound meter, so I think it's okay. Oh, we still have Sage's frozen face on there. I just realized that. Maybe I can turn him off. We'll just leave him. He's there. Not bus related, but is your quarantine self-regulated, or do you have to check in with anybody? There's a couple ways you can do it. You can use the ArriveCan app, and you have to check in every day. They ask you if you have any symptoms, and as long as you check in with them on a regular basis, then I think you're probably fine. They are within their rights to do a random stop by at your house and inspect to make sure you're there. And I'm sure if you didn't do the app and the updates on a daily basis, that I'm sure they would show up. They have called a couple of times with different tidbits of information. Just, if you're sick, you contact public health. These are the symptoms to look for. They've been very informative. So far it's been an okay experience. It's just kind of a pain in the butt that I have to do it for 2 weeks. It's just too bad that you can't wait 3 or 4 days and then take a test to see if you're infected or not and go about your life. But that's the way that the government's chosen to do it. So I got to follow their rules. It's their rules, and it is what it is. I don't really have a choice about it. So Friday at 2 o'clock, I'm free. I'm going to hop in my bus and I'm going to go down to the airport and take an airplane for a ride, because it's been 6 or 7 weeks since I've flown one of the planes, and I kind of miss it. As much as I love doing the bus stuff, I miss my other hobby. I miss the airplanes. So hopefully it's good weather. Let's see if we got any other questions. I'm just going to go through here. Scroll back a bit in case I missed anything. See the price difference on the glass as they're working on a template, so time is less. Yeah, I'm gonna have to I gotta get some of the pieces of glass to a glass shop and get some quotes on the glass. The problem with glass is it's very heavy and it's cost prohibitive to ship it, so it's likely cheaper for me to get it cut locally than it is to go with the same guy that cut the glass for Sage's pre-war, even though they've already got the templates. Flat glass is not rocket science. That's one of the things I like about the Silver Sides. Every piece of glass in this bus is flat. You can take it to a glass shop. Any good glass shop can cut any window in this bus for you. So front windshields and the rear windows are safety glass. The side windows are all just standard automotive glass. And some of the side windows that are not sliders are all double paned, and there's a desk seal between them. So every side window I've got that's cracked, I have to get 2 pieces of glass cut for the double paned ones, and that's kind of a pain. It's actually amazing how many different gaskets go into each individual window on this bus. There's a gasket that seals them into the frame itself. Then there's a gasket between the frames. There's a gasket that seals the frame into the bus. Then there's an outer one that seals the slider. So I think there's maybe 4, possibly 5 total. But they're all gaskets that we have the mold for getting them made. So we've got the profile. Mark Renner went through all the work of doing that when he restored the bus that he did, and we were able to obtain those molds and the dies, and we're able to get that rubber reproduced, which is great because I need them all. And after looking at my bus, every window that I've touched, every piece of rubber on this bus is so hard and brittle, they all need to be done eventually. Even my windshields, I'd say they've probably been changed at some point. They're unlikely to be original, but the gaskets themselves are just crumbling away. Like it was leaking through the windshield just sitting here in the driveway with the rain beating on it the other day. So every piece of rubber in a vintage bus you likely have to replace just because of the age. And there's more rubber too. There's the rubber around the front door seal. There's rubber around the luggage bays. There's rubber around the emergency exit. So it'll be great to get all those seals done up properly and get the bus watertight, because we do plan to travel with it. And Sage is asking, why am I frozen in time? Well, that's because you left. If you hadn't left, you wouldn't be frozen. Let me see if I can turn him off. Let me see if I can figure out how to do that. Remove. Oh, nope, wrong image. Let's try this again. Add. Huh. You're stuck here, Sage. I don't know how to get rid of you. Hey, you're gone. There we go. Maybe we can drag this and make this full screen now. There we go. Now we're full screen. So hopefully the video quality is okay. It is pretty dark here now. But let's go back to the Skype, to the YouTube page. Okay, so Sage is gone. How many hours of flight do I have? I've got about 500 hours of flying time. I'm just a private pilot. I got my license about 5 years ago, just over 5 years ago now. It was 5 years in May. So that's actually a lot of flying for a private pilot. I haven't actually been flying that much in the last year. I've been back focusing on my car hobbies, but I do fly on a regular basis, and it's something that I really enjoy doing, and it's something I plan on doing as long as I am able to do it and keep passing my medical. Somebody's asking, have you got a layout conversion design plan to share with everybody? I don't. I wanted to wait until I got the bus before I really started doing a firm layout, because I wanted to get an idea of the feel and the dimensions, and it's kind of hard to plan something like another Silverside owner, Two Feathers, sent me his floor plan layout, and I had a look at it, but it wasn't quite suiting for my needs. And then I started thinking about it. It's easier to wait till I get the bus, get a feel for how the bus is. I can mock it up. I'll get some masking tape. I'll lay it out on the floor, and then I can get a real idea of what it is that I want for my needs. So there's no point in trying to lay it out until I had the bus. So now we've got the bus here. My wife and I can spend some time in it. We sat in the bus for an hour the other night and just loosely discussed a plan. So now we're gonna try and put that plan into place and slowly start to build it. Let me scroll back here. I think I missed a couple questions. Technical difficulties. Two Feathers RV. We need all the rubbers. Yeah, we all need all the rubbers. Every Silverside owner probably needs, except for John, who has the bus that Mark Renner restored. John's bus is absolutely gorgeous. If you ever get a chance to see that bus, it's worth a good look. Every time I look at that bus, I notice a different feature about it, and there's just something new to appreciate. Two Feathers says, should have the PPG paint codes for you this week. Yeah, the paint codes are out there. There's a bunch of people who have them, so it would be good to have the correct paint codes. I do want to put the bus back into proper Greyhound colors on the outside. I think that's just the right thing to do. I know it's been done a dozen times already, but I think these buses just look great in the proper Greyhound colors. I don't think you can go wrong with that. Somebody says, how did you guys get tangled up together? Well, we met at, initially we met on Bus Grease Monkey page, and then we met at the Blytheville rally. We're both Volkswagen guys with a strong Volkswagen background and history, and we just kind of clicked, and we were both looking for buses for a while, and for a little bit we were kind of in competition with each other, looking at different buses, and he ended up buying the Texas bus that I passed on. I decided it would be too much work for me to drive home as far as I had to go, and ironically there I was putting it together and getting it going down the highway. So I'm just gonna take a drink here and lose my voice. Okay, what else have we got? What plane do I fly? I fly a number of different planes. I belong to a flying club, and they have a couple of planes. They've got my favorite plane that if I'm just going local for a local flight is a 1946 Piper J3 Cub. Anybody who's a pilot, if you haven't flown one, it's probably on your bucket list to fly. It's a very simple but very fun and very nimble airplane to fly. It's probably my favorite just to go for a short half an hour evening flight just before sunset. That's one of the planes I fly. I have access to a Cessna 172 through the club. I used to own a Piper Cherokee. I probably have over 300 hours of Piper Cherokee time. If I'm going cross country, I rent from a friend. He's got a Piper Comanche, a PA-24. That's a fast plane if you need to get somewhere, 160 knots at 8,000 or 9,000 feet. I mean, I can get to Ottawa from here in an hour and 45 minutes. It takes me 7 hours to drive it, so that's great if you actually need to get somewhere quickly. But yeah, I love flying, and any of my viewers, if you're in the area, I'd be happy to take you for a flight. Do your luggage bays still have the leather strip along the top hinge? Most of them do. Not all of them, but a lot of them do. I've even got the pinch guard on the front coach door. Even actually the emergency exit door still has the pinch guard. So it's kind of neat. They're there. I've got a template. They all need to be replaced because they're just deteriorated with age, but they are still there. So Rodney, if you need a template, I can get you a template. I can copy mine, or when I'm done, I can send you my old one maybe. Somebody's saying the outside color scheme, keeping the red on top with polished sides. Well, the red I think is actually a primer, because if you look at the red, it matches the Texas bus. So I think what's happened is that's the primer that was underneath the paint. And if I look at my bus real carefully, I can see where the original roof paint is peeled away, and I think that's just the primer that's left, and it's running down the sides of the bus because it's porous and it's coming off the bus slowly. How long is the silver? Oh, Sage answered that already. Thank you, Sage. 96 Chevy Dually, Cirrus SR22T. I'd like to try one of those out. They're a slick plane. I've never been in a Cirrus, and I think it would be neat to try the side stick control that they've got. Kind of like an Airbus. I think that'd be pretty cool. Just chimed in. Enjoy watching your adventure. Thank you, Dan. Well, we've been well over an hour now, I think. So if red oxide primer, that's right. And it runs down the siding, so I've got to clean up all my siding because it's not as bad as the Texas bus, but I've got a lot of the red oxide on my paint. But yeah, we're getting on here in the evening. I'm starting to get a little chilly. It's probably about 5 or 6 degrees Celsius here. I do have a little heater at my feet, so that's how I've been able to stay out here in the bus so long. But I wanted to do a live from the bus because that's what this is all about. This is all about buses, and so if you've got any questions, please get them in now, and I'll try to answer them before I take off. But I think we're just about to wrap it up and call it a night. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. Appreciate your viewers joining us tonight, and it's been a fun adventure. It was 5 weeks on the road with Sage, and now I've got not quite one more full week of quarantine. So more plane talk. De Havilland Beaver. Never rode in a beaver. I've seen lots of beavers, and they're pretty neat to look at, but never flown in one. Where are you at in Canada? For those who joined us late, we my wife and I, it's Bus With Us, so it's my wife Angie and I. We'll get her on the videos once my quarantine's done, and we live about an hour and a half west of Toronto. We're near a small town called Stratford, Ontario. We're kind of between London and Toronto, but a bit further north, if that hopefully gives you an idea where we are. And if anybody is local and wants to come see the bus, then reach out to me, and I'd be happy to give you my address, and you can pop by and we can socially distance and talk buses. Don't mind having visitors if you're a bus monkey. Somebody's asking, do you have a source for fabricating the rubber seals? Yes, we have a source. We have a rubber company lined up. I was in contact with them just before I left to do the Texas bus rescue. And if I hadn't have been so long on the Texas bus rescue, I'd probably have product in my hand right now. They have confirmed about a 2-week lead time to produce product for me. And then on top of that, it's probably a week of shipping to get it up here. So I'm looking at probably 3 weeks from when I place my order to actually having product in my hand to restore my windows. But yeah, Windows is the big priority right now. I got to get the bus sealed up. There's no point in doing any kind of work on the interior or conversion until I get that sealed up, because the moisture will just destroy any of the work that I do. So there's no point. So that's the first big thing. So yeah, if there's no more further questions, I'm going to end the stream and call it a night. So thank you all for joining us, and like and subscribe. Have a good evening.